323. That's how many full updates Minecraft has had since it was released. 88 official versions, ranging from 1.21 all the way back to 1.0, 29 betas, 51 alphas, and the rest development versions. Out of all of these, what makes one a good version? Something entertaining, something people are excited to play. Well, after thinking about the updates I've enjoyed the most, talking to some other players, and narrowing my focus from 1.0 onwards, I've come up with 6 pieces of the puzzle to a good Minecraft update. There's probably some bias towards later updates, as that's when I started playing, but I do think these categories fit everything. The first? Theming. This relates to the overall concept of an update, usually summed up with its name. A great example of this is my favourite update, 1.16, the Nether update. The barren landscape of the Nether was a blank canvas for the developers to breathe life into. 4 new biomes bursting with character. The new mobs, striders, hoglins and piglins, feel so natural in this world. Plus, netherite feels like the perfect addition to progression, utilising how difficult the Nether is to traverse with a high reward, and encouraging exploration with the bastions completes the feeling of this update as a new world. Both alive and dangerous, scary yet exciting. Everything feels so nicely connected together in a way where each addition feels perfect. Playing this update for the first time was genuinely an amazing experience. I remember waiting for weeks and waking up super early just so I could update my survival world and try everything new out. Going a few years back, we have, in my opinion, the worst themed update. 1.10, the Frostburn update. The name itself is weird, but also just doesn't give any hints at most of the changes made. Sticking to the theme of frost, we have the addition of polar bears and strays, and then with burn we have magma, a couple of new nether blocks and maybe husks? Apart from that we have fossils and bone blocks, and tiger and zombie villages? Nothing feels cohesive, and the parts that stay on theme don't really have a context. Polar bears didn't come along with new features, items, or even a way to breed them. They were just kind of put there, and other passive mobs were removed from cold areas, so they're extra lonely. These two updates are 4 years apart. It seems in this time Mojang has really figured it all. The Wild update, my favourite recent update. I love the Deep Dark. Ancient cities are really cool, and frogs are fun, but wild doesn't really mean anything in this context. Wild as in uncontrollable, and wild as in nature, I suppose. I don't think it's anywhere near as offensive as the Frostburn update, but I don't think I'm alone in thinking this feels like 2 separate updates stitched together, which could be a cool parallel between light and dark, but I feel like that just gets a bit muddy here. I might just still be a bit bitter about Fireflies though. It's a fine update, but just doesn't seem as coherent as others. You could, however, argue it excels in our next piece of the puzzle. Concentration of content. I am specifically choosing not to say an update needs a lot of new features. I'm arguing an update needs a good level of content for what it is. One of the most controversial updates ever, I believe, is also the most game-changing. 1.9, the combat update. Known for forcing players to start timing their attacks instead of just clicking as fast as they can, this update revolutionized combat, while also improving the end. Adding faraway islands filled with alien fruit, distant and lonely cities guarded by living blocks, all leading to the newly added Elytra. Elytra. Along with all of this came mending, tipped arrows, glowing, igloos, shields. This was a big update. Huge areas of the game had huge shakeups. Transport, progression, and obviously combat. Now, as a fan of 1.9, looking at how much has changed, it makes little sense why some people wanted to stick with the previous version. Even today, people still stick with this update. The high concentration of changes was off-putting to some. I'm not saying if these features were added slowly, people may have been more receptive. We can't know that. But I do think it's fair to say that such a mountain of change became a roadblock. Now, I don't know if I can really class this as an update, but the Caves and Cliffs update is arguably Mojang's most bold venture, maybe a bit too bold, with the update needing to be split into 3 different versions, and some features still waiting on being implemented. Being divided into content, generation, and promises, this update took 2 years to be completely available. This upset a lot of players who felt like Mojang, being a giant company in the gaming industry, shouldn't have to backtrack on big promises they've made. Again, you could argue an update having a lot of content was its downfall. Not that it ruined the game here, but just that people became less excited. Looking at the most recent update, 1.21, Tricky Trials felt like a solid update in my eyes. The Bogged and Breeze are really fun. I love mob variants. I've voiced my love for the mace many times on this channel, so I'll just briefly mention it and say, this is a really good indication of Mojang moving in the right direction. We can see it. Like my next point, visibility. Such a good segue. This may seem a little strange at first, but I think a big role in a good update is the new features being visible to the average player. 1.11, the Exploration update, known for adding the biggest structure seen at the time, the Woodland Mansion, home to the new Illagers and the only place to get one of the most powerful items, the Totem of Undying. Yet, I can count how many times I've organically been to a mansion in survival on my Minecraft hand. So, 0. It's all fun to throw this exciting manor out there, but if there is 20,000 blocks away from most players, many aren't going to take that adventure. I fear a similar fate for the trial chambers, the allure of the heavy core not being enough for most players, but I think time will tell for this new structure. I've come across this little place quite a few times, and it genuinely was my first introduction into the concept of healing a zombie villager, so it succeeded in one of its functions. Not common in a landscape, but a fun thing to find in a very barren biome, plus a cool source of golden apples. I almost see this like the Desert Well's better, colder counterpart. Moving away from structures, how often do you see the sniffer? Designed to be something you need to go out and collect the eggs for, the reward is the mob itself and torchflower seeds. Unless you're a die-hard sniffer fan willing to put in that extra effort, you probably don't see much reason to collect an egg. It's a cool concept, but ultimately I don't think it's seen enough in the game. Glow squids is seen too much though. To give a good example, I think I'd definitely turn to bees. Fun and weirdly oversized, fuzzy cubes, which you'll see flying around your forests often enough to notice. These guys were the face of an entire update, and have an interesting mechanic in speeding up the farming process, all while having real life parallels. This is a perfect way to do a small, modern Minecraft edition, and a great way to talk about bug fixing. I know, it's not as exciting, so I'll keep it brief, but 1.15, the Busy Bees update, was a comical way to have an update focused on bugs, fixing the issues in Minecraft, and hundreds more glitches and errors in the game have been fixed since the update was released back in December of 2019. A game like Minecraft needs to be fixed over time. If we want the best possible game, each update needs to refine what's already there. Don't forget the old stuff. Mojang has done this amazingly recently. Looking at the new wolf variants, you can see these textures have had lots of time and effort put into them, with attention to real-life dog breeds and community requests. The same can be said for paintings, a group of textures which haven't been changed in almost 12 years, getting a whole new range of options, all in line with Minecraft's 15th anniversary. A well-deserved celebration. Smithing templates being added to loads of pre-existing structures, along with the integration of suspicious sand in places like the Desert Temple, shows new concepts can easily work hand in hand with Minecraft's already loved features. A mob I think Mojang has expanded on in a great way are the Illagers. Originally just being the Evoker and the Vindicator, seen solely in the distant mansions, over time they've become a kind of mascot for the game. The Village and Pillage update, 1.14, bringing them into new prominence with the Pillagers' debut in the new raid system. Patrols being a common occurrence throughout the world, I'm sure most players have seen these guys. Even starring in some spin-off games, the Illager is the stereotypical evil in the world, which makes for some fun stories along the way. A kind of side note on this is don't forget the new old stuff, which doesn't make much sense, but copper, an ore added a few updates ago, needs to be built up like other ores such as redstone and quartz, to have interesting mechanics so it becomes more embedded in the game. The introduction of more recipes involving copper is a good way to do this, but also its implementation in trial chambers and with redstone mechanics and the copper bulb is really starting to make it feel more at home in Minecraft. Lapis was added ages ago and serves primarily to enchant gear. I'd love to see some new features for the mineral, maybe alongside a few more amethyst uses. A reworked enchanting system would be amazing, and a great way to show Mojang is community driven. arguably the most important of all of these factors. An update should be spearheaded by what the players want. Now, I am not one to defend the Minecraft fandom, but some of these people can have a couple of good ideas here and there. The Minecraft suggestion page is a lovely source of ideas which Mojang does genuinely look at often, some concepts even being added to the game. One I find really cool being the mangrove swamp. When doing this though, I think it's so important that the community is listened to as a whole. With any fandom, a loud voice tends to be more prominent, which makes the smaller voices not heard, even if they could have ideas more beneficial for the game. Tough getting new variants is a really interesting way to listen to builders wanting a more diverse block palette, and these blocks look amazing. Dog armor is an amazing thing to see in the game after so long, and trial chambers acting as a sort of updated dungeon is really cool. I may joke about an end update I crave, but really, as long as Mojang takes and listens to feedback that will genuinely make Minecraft better, that's the best update for me. So, altogether we have this picture. 6 parts to make the best Minecraft update. Each will need different amounts and ratios to each other depending on what the theme is, but to me, this is the best way to update Minecraft. Hopefully we see 1.22 be the best update yet for the game, incorporating all of these ideas with the Mojang shine that really just ties everything together. That's the update I want. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this different kind of style. Hopefully a little more polished, but just trying things out. Feel free to check out some of my other videos that are on screen now and leave a comment. I'll try my best to respond. Bye!